What's going on? We're Highline and we're here chatting with Milky.
You call my name, I fall into your arms, you never dropped me.
We formed in 2019 after a bit of time off after leaving school. We all played together in jazz, in a jazz ensemble at high school together, and then we just got together in my garage and started playing some songs I wrote when I was young, and so from there just sort of the rest is history. The name was a bit of a
bit arbitrary. The discussion was quite painful.
we just tell everyone it's the one we hated the least, really. We were battling to come up with a name, and that was that. No meaning.
So this EP came around over the last 18 months or so. We had some old songs and some new songs, but mainly it was just a vision of we really want to go a step up from where we've been in the past, and we really want to put the time that we think these songs deserve into it. So we all went away for a few days down to Barrel, and we really just picked them apart, lyrics, every note, every melody, became friends, and then went up to the Grove Studios in Central Coast. Just spent 5 days with Jack Negro and just put them together, and the result was we're pretty happy with. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I mean, I think Reese covered it all. I'd say there wasn't a real specific motivation for it though, other than let's just sort of try harder than the previous EP, which was somewhat we didn't really have any direction, and we kind of just got the first producer that we met and kind of went to the first studio suggested. We didn't really explore anything outside of that. In terms of musically, I don't think it's necessarily sort of outrageous or sort of pulling rabbits out of a hat. It's just I think it's more a reflection of what we can write as opposed to stuff we did previously. I think it's just sort of a culmination of a bit more effort.
I think this EP is really a better reflection of who we are as a band. Our first EP, Strictly Dreaming, was a lot of songs that I'd written in high school, and it was sort of not as collaborative. However, with this, it's a real true reflection of everyone's influences, everyone's contribution. We had so much fun, and we spent so much time writing it and really working on it till it was, in our minds, perfect. So I think this is a much better reflection of who Highline is compared to the first EP.
It's probably the most fun to make, and we went away for the first time just to write music, and you wake up, you focus on making some tunes, and it was just a lot of fun.
The EP's called Off Track. We didn't write it with this specific vision in mind, but we've eventually we sort of realized all these songs were about some sort of loss of self, or sort of going off the right path. A lot of the themes are just sort of that, just finding yourself not where you want to be, whether that be after a relationship, whether that be with there's a song about overcoming vices. There's songs about just general attitude in general, with a song called Call Out. And I think all the words we've written we thought about quite hard. They're very honest, they're very personal to me in particular for a bunch of the songs. I just think it's just a lot about just growing up and being young, making mistakes, and sort of dealing with all those things all young people deal with.
Busy. Oh, why? Ooh.
That easy.
Yeah. It's probably the song that we've sort of dreamt up and put the most effort in over the last 2 years to get it where it is now. And we always play it last when we play it live. But it's just got so many elements to it that I think really shape who we are. It's got two very catchy choruses, but then it's got some pretty wild solo-y stuff at the end. And it's like it's still fun to play when we rehearse, which is rare. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say if you sort of wanted to say, like what Sam said, that this EP kind of sums up more, I think, of the talent or musical taste, I'd say this song would actually sum up all that in general.
With Call Out and Busy, we've had them since like our first year, yeah. And they were just ideas then, and that we built upon as we have grown and moved along. COVID really accelerated everything. It was a weird time. The sort of world was falling apart, and literally about a month before COVID hit, I'd broken up with my girlfriend, and then eventually we just had James and Jim come over quite a bit, and went over to Reese's place a lot, and we just started working with new sounds. We worked with pianos and synths for the first time, and although those 2 songs we'd had for like over a year, the other 3 came about really quickly over the space of about 2-3 months, in terms of just like being from the idea to completely finished at that farm. The idea of like, all right, we're going to make an EP and do it really was just accelerated through COVID, and it was a really cool time where we had nothing but time to just sort of work on it and really refine it and discover this new sound with this new element of keys and synths as well, especially, that we've grown to love.
We've all got very different musical tastes and like influences, particularly like me and Reese and Priesty like a lot of Pink Floyd and like 60s, 70s psychedelic stuff. And I'd say the trend with Sam, as opposed to us, is a lot more catchy, like poppy stuff as well as rock. But we all love Oasis and like that kind of Britpop DMA sound. I guess our sound is a bit of like acoustic, dreamy rock with a bit of drive to it as well.
Like we've been compared to like the Kooks and Catfish on the Bottom in a bit, so it's definitely like that Britpop sound, but with a lot more rocky, anthem, like bit drive, louder, Britpop but louder, I'd say.
I was just saying, I've never heard a Catfish in the Bottom song. Still.
You haven't?
Yeah.
It's got the vocal performance of that sort of genre is the best way, and I think that's why we get compared to those bands necessarily, is because Sam's voice is very distinctive and he has his own style that is sort of heavily influenced from that. And of course, I tend to think like what makes a lot of bands sort of set apart from others is a lot of the times the quality of the vocals, because it can be quite hard to find decent singers, and that tends to be the thing that really sticks in people's minds. I think a lot of the time when you first listen to a band, it sort of sticks out in the mix the most, and it's usually the main melody. But in terms of musically, it draws from a lot of different things, like what Jim mentioned, and of course from the Oasis-y Britpop thing. And I think that's it. It's sort of a combination of those somewhat catchy vocal melodies and rhythms with sort of, I don't know, some sort of treats just sprinkled in here and there from other areas that sort of try to make it sort of stick out from the rest of the pack, because obviously this sort of music is very sort of in trend, and it's very sort of popular sort of stuff, and it's just how do you kind of maybe distinguish yourself from other people who might be doing similar things, and it's usually sort of in that regard.
We put a lot of money into the lights. Try and distract them from us. But no, we're pretty tight by now. We've been playing some of these songs for years, and it's just a lot of fun. I've only started really having fun on stage at the other month, like at Oxford Arts. After sit-down shows, that is. After all those sit-down shows. But there's just a lot of energy in the room, I feel, and you just feed off it, and it's pretty awesome. So I guess that's what to expect.
I think an interesting thing about us as well is we haven't actually gotten to play live as much as other bands our age because of COVID. Like we played 3 headline shows before the virus sort of took over, and then we did all these sit-down gigs. Last April at Oxford Art Factory was our first one, and I think after a year of relentless rehearsing and playing together, we've now gotten to a stage where some of those early, you know, new band nerves are gone, and we're a lot tighter, and just, yeah, I think the live show's just a lot of energy and a lot of lights. I think for us, like, I mean, we all do, you know, we're all at uni and we all work, but playing the shows, I mean, the band and especially playing the shows is just, for us, like the best, most fun thing in each of our lives. So for us, I think live music is that time where you get to showcase, you know, what you've got, what you've been working on, what you've been putting all that money and all that time into, and just getting to sort of, yeah, share not only what you love the most with everyone, but also what you have to say in some of those songs as well. And I think for people, it's just, you know, a chance to really just bring people together. I mean, the recent show, it was lovely to see everyone jumping up and down and having a good time together again for the first time in over a year. And yeah, I think it's really important for like Sydney and for the music scene, because yeah, without it, we'd all just be at just gronks, yeah. Gronks at home.
I think, like, pretty much the current music industry is basically just lives off live music, and that's from the complete, you know, like, open mic kind of person just sort of getting up there for the first time to massive touring acts making millions of dollars. You know, the profit sort of system and the structure of the way people make music these days is not off streams and record sales like it maybe used to, and you'd have a tour to support, you know, to try and force sales or to promote it. But I think these days it's, you know, that's where you make your sort of living as a musician, so to speak. The only times we've sort of seen a genuine sort of return on a lot of the money we've put in is from playing shows and getting decent sales. And I think people put a lot more thought into shows now. There's a lot more, you know, lighting and technology, and the sound's getting better, and there's a bigger emphasis on that being sort of the core thing of the music industry now. I think people look forward to the tour a lot more times than they would actually look forward to the actual new release of a record. And I think, yeah, it's just the most fun thing to do, and even going and watching a show. I think that's just literally, it's the cornerstone these days of the music industry, is live music.
I think the fact that we've all got different influences really stops this from being like a rabbit hole process. I mean, at times we never agree on anything, but once the end product is out, that sort of tension throughout really creates this sort of product that we think differentiates ourselves, because there are 4 different loud opinions coming into it and sort of shaping it into something. And because there's all these different influences, we can't, you know, aim for something that's already happened. We're just trying to all get our own way, which sort of ends in this unique product sometimes.
I'd say, like, we do try to steer away a little bit from just being verse chorus, and we do like to, as Priesty said, add a few more treats or like a solo in, just keep it fun and musical. Yeah. DMAs and Oasis.
Alex Turner for sure. Yeah.
Let's say Metal by Pink Floyd.
American Psycho. No, not actually. But I just think there'd be something comical about like Mira playing. Or Patrick Bateman's going through some like just psychopathic crap.
Hannah.
That's your opinion.
Tame Impala 2019 at Splendor in the Grass was easily the best set I've seen. That was just awesome.
Spice Girl.
One Direction.
Spice Girl.
Okay.
Well, no.
Think about
You
it.
can say
One Direction.
I feel like there was more there'd be more conflict in One Direction than there is even in us. If you want to sign up for that, Spice Girl.
Spice Girl.
Yeah, I think it's
Better
actually,
music.
It's
One
cool.
went out with David Beckham. Like, I don't know how he's sort of
Yeah,
supposed to top that. Like,
pretty heavy.
Up, baby.
Grumpy Spice.
Grumpy.
I'd just be Baby Spice again.
Cinnamon Sugar. Britney Spears.
I reckon like Green Day would be fun.
Keep your head screwed on. Keep it tight, mate. Keep your ship tight, mate. Since I was 8 years old, I started playing drums, so it's always been a part of sort of what I've done.
Probably once I started getting into uni and being like, oh shit, you know, it's so much more fun. Yeah, it's just so much more fun to be playing. And then since then, it's been like pretty much a goal of all of us to just heads down and try and get it done. It'd be awesome.
I used to live in Chicago when I was young, and there'd be like block parties and stuff like that in very American sort of tradition. And I remember watching like bands play, and my dad was playing as well in bands at block parties, and I was like 6 years old. And ever since then, I was pretty much just head down, obsessed, asked to get guitar lessons straight away. So I'd probably pin it down to that, my time in Chicago for sure.
I think when I was like pretty young, maybe around 6, I started playing piano and drums, and especially drums was so much fun. You just put on headphones and you feel sorry for the neighbours, just make a lot of noise. So it was always fun. Maybe like when I was around 13 though, probably listening to some Led Zeppelin albums and Pink Floyd, thought, yeah, it'd be cool to make stuff like this.